Okay, I have a case here, and the case come from HTC Corporation. So before I do a little analysis at the end of the video, we have to know about the background, the journey of the HTC Corporation itself. So simply, in 1997, HTC ran its business by manufacture personal digital assistants, and then in 2002 the corporation shifted into originally designed companies. No, companies. I mean original design manufacturers for you know like service networks, service providers. Then the turning point came from the year of 2007 when the CEO of HTC Corporation decided to produce smartphones under its brand, under the name of HTC Corporation. And the CEO of HTC Corporation was Cher Wang. Cher Wang, I mean. And the Cher Wang had a vision to create a different product than the other competitors. She wanted to create an exceptional product, a cutting edge smartphones that different from the other providers. Like the way she realized that just being a promote a culture of innovation. Yeah. The only thing that drive the differentiation was innovation. So yeah, innovation is the main driver of the HTC Corporation because Sherwang, you know, really uphold the principle of create create innovations to enrich consumers' lives. And the peak of this innovation was to integrate, internet, mobile, wireless, and IT, and make HTC as a global organization. So we that's the simple, the brief profile of HTC Corporation, and we move to the background of the company. So as I stated before, that the founder of the HTC was Cher Wang, and Cher Wang was the daughter of the richest businessman in Taiwan. Then, firstly, she bought fire technology and lead the technology, and also she became actively engaged in HTC process in creating PDA. But do you know that initially HTC manufactured notebooks, but unfortunately it came to failure because at the time notebook didn't widely recognized and it requires a high cost, but the sales of notebook from HTC didn't didn't coverage the expenses. So until HTC decided, like, let's just exit from the notebook manufacturer, then move to the PDA manufacturer, personal digital assistance manufacturer for Compaq, HP, and Dell. And the grand success came when HTC produced for Compaq PDAs from Compaq called iPac. Yeah, and iPac really gained a huge success. And at the time, of course, HTC felt proud by producing PDA, especially iPac. but and also HTC run as a original design manufacturers for Dwell. Original design manufacturers, or ODM. The way it works, like HTC SIM create and designed the products. Then the the smartphones will be you know will be sold will be sold to, yeah, to you know to some brand. And for this case, the brand who bought, who used the ODM services was Dwell. So simply ODM you know ordered, I want to make a smartphones. Then HTC create, design until final product release, and then the product was sold by the brand that orders ODM services. So HTC was the PDA, then shifted to ODM. Then in 2002, HTC, cooperate with Microsoft to develop XDA. XDA is a smartphone, but the basis of the smartphone was Windows. So it means that it was the first smartphone with Windows base. And also, because HTC provide ODM services, so HTC also manufactured smartphones for several network operators like T-Mobile, Vodafone, Verizon, and others, and others network operators. Okay, for a long time, like the smartphones from HTC had used Microsoft Windows and Google's Androids. So, because HTC really, you know, like they the company suits the preference of the brand who order ODM services. So because of this approach, of this customized approach, the HTC name, well, really spread across the country, and it attract a huge brand like British Telecom, Orange, and many more. And those network operators, as I stated before, British Telecom, Orange, became a partner of HTC. So, when the year of 2007 came, the CEO of HTC Corporation decided to produce smartphones under its own brand, under HTC Corporation, because for a long time HTC like provide a design and a product for other brand, and other brand only purchase product that originally produced by HTC. And in 2007, Cher Wang make a big decision by release its own smartphones. So HTC, as I said before, that HTC use Windows, Microsoft Windows, and Google's Androids. And so in its mobile phones, the mobile phones that would be released under HTC Corporation name had Google Androids platforms in its mobile phones. And the first phone that launched from HTC was HTC Touch, and it was released in US and Europe, and then it was followed by HTC Touch Diamond. It was the second brand that was rolled out by HTC Corporation. And until 2011, HTC had sold over 100 variants of smartphones. And at the time, HTC was the global leader in mobile innovation and design. Okay, after the background, we move to the industry analysis. Okay, I'll show you guys. This is the table. Okay, this is the table of worldwide devices shipments. So basically, the worldwide devices, especially smartphone, would highly increase in 2011. Look, mobile phone in 2012, the shipments only about 1,746 million, but in 2011 it was estimated to increase until 2100 2009. So it was a high you know a high increase in a worldwide devices shipments in the world. And to be exact, the smartphones that dominated the market share. This is the list of smartphones that dominate the market share. Because HTC just entered the market, the smartphones market. So HTC, we can assume that HTC was a new player in that market. So if we compare with Apple, with Samsung, and the other huge brand, of course, it's really 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 far. There's a high gap, but it can it can be it can be overcome if Wang really conducted many innovation. So based on this table, smartphones unit sales and market share, the top brand that dominate the market share first was Samsung, then followed by Apple, then followed by Nokia, and then followed by RIM. Then after RIM, it was HTC. Yeah. No, sorry, Nokia, and after Nokia, Huawei, and after Huawei, HTC. And we can assume that though HTC was a new player, but HTC can include in top 5 smartphone unit sales and market shares. It means that HTC include in top 5 smartphones brand that dominate market shares. So because the main operating system of HTC was Microsoft Windows and Google Android, the competitors of HTC, which was Apple, the operating system that was used by Apple was Mac X, and Nokia also No, I mean Nokia used Symbian platform, and Samsung used Windows Mobile, and RIM use Make OS. Okay, this is the table of worldwide devices operating system. Look, the the this is Android, Windows, Mac OS, RAM, and Android and Windows were used by HTC Corporation, and it was estimated in 2004 that Android will lead the operating system in smartphones around the world. So okay, because HTC had had competed with a huge brand, and of course many advancement smartphone industry really really became intangible. So the advancements like the technology of 3G 4G at the time was very captivating, and the huge smartphone brands really wanted to involve that technology in its smartphones. But HTC was the first smartphone brand that launched its phone with 4G technology. Yeah, with 4G technology. Of course, this was the crucial factors that would be a spark later that HTC could compete with a huge brands. And because of this, it was estimated that HTC would have a high demand of smartphone with an advanced technology. And because HTC was the first company who released that phone, and of course, the HTC's performance really shown a stable growth in the market, especially in the last decade. And the revenue of HTC really increased from 118.2 million NT dollars in 2007, and it increased to 465.8 million NT dollars in 2011. So it means that in just 5 years, HTC could performs exceptionally, and if we calculate it on average, the increased income, the increased revenue of of HTC Corporation was 72% increase per year. And about the net income also increased from 28.9 million to 62.3 million NT dollars. So, and if we calculate it also, approximately the revenue increases about 29% per year. So I'll show you here. This is the table of the HTC income statement. So this is the net income. Look, in 2007, the income only 29. Then in 2011, it increased to 62 million NT dollars. Remember, only just 5 years. And on average, it increased 29% per year. So we back to the vision. If we remember the vision of Cher Wang, who wanted to create an innovative product to enrich consumers' life. Of course, Cher Wang wanted to, like to refine its brand, to make its brand as perfect as possible. And to realize this, to realize this vision, Cher Wang initiated to conduct many partnerships with, conducted partnerships with several types of brand of several types of painters. There are several partnerships. The first partnerships, HTC cooperate with Beats Electronics. So HTC pay 300 million dollars just to, just to have a high level of audio, so it can, of course, enrich the consumer's experience. First with Beats Electronics, and the second with, wait, let me analyze this paper. Oh yeah, with Dashwire. With Dashwire, HTC cooperate for cloud computing, and the other partnership with Interest Technology Corporation. And in 2010, HTC bought like 100 mobile technology patents from HTC Telecom, and after that he had a license agreement with intellectual vendors. So it means that the mobile technology patents that HTC purchased from HTC Telecom was originally being its own name. Yeah, so it means became the patent of HTC. And also he had partnered with TomTom Envy and Sonic Computer Entertainment. So yeah, many partnership HTC Corporation had conducted just to make an innovative product. And this effort really paid off because HTC released many kind of smartphones like HTC One S, then HTC Evo 3D. Okay, the interesting one from HTC Evo 3D that the camera had a 5 megapixel that can recording 3D image and video. And about the HTC One S, the camera of HTC One S could capture a video and picture with a high resolution simultaneously. And also it launched HTC Evo Shift 4G with a slide out QWERTY, like many devices right now. We use QWERTY term in its typing mode. So because her vision of making HTC as a global organization that integrate internet, wireless, and IT really make a significant changes. Yeah, a significant cultural changes. Okay, like Cher Wang introduced a new culture in the company, which was a culture of innovation. And because of this culture, the company encouraged, many experiments, and also like many experiments that that later would refine the best designed for HTC Corporation, but still there they need to innovate their products regularly. So, because her vision to, was to create innovative product, of course, she spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley just to like learn many things until after that she established Magic, or Mobility Advancement Group and Innovation Center. Like this, this step, I mean, to create Magic, the aim Sherwang created Magic was to drive innovation in its devices and smartphones. So Magic Magic team really involved engineers and jewelry designers and graphic designers. And because of this, like Magic Magic team had a wealth of intellectual patents. Like they could create intellectual patents for its devices. And because there's this team, I mean Magic team, of course, the product cycle of HTC Corporation was short, like for about 9 months. Like HTC product I mean released new smartphones. Then of course they still conducted an innovation to improve the previous products. Then in 9 months the HTC released the new product that was better from the previous one. Then 9 months later released the new product again, and 9 months later released the new products again, which was had a better innovation than the previous one. Yeah, that's the culture of innovation that was initiated by Sherwang. So Sherwang also hired Horace Luke, who was and Horace Luke used to work in Microsoft company, and the job of Horace Luke was to supervise the design and innovation in HTC Corporation. And Sherwang, didn't play around this vision about innovation of its product. HTC also conducted partnership with a design company in San Francisco, which was One and Co. Yeah, that's the design company that had a partnership with HTC Corporation. And this partnership led to R&D strategy. R&D And because research and development needs a high investment, and HTC Corporation inject, 549 million dollars just to conduct R&D and to create an innovative product. And HTC also uphold the ideals of comprehensive environmental protection, health and safety, and energy management. So HTC also, you know, put put its consumers as a you know as a main as a main how can I call it, as a main uh you know Figaro's, as a main driver of innovation, because back to the vision of the Cher Wang to enrich consumers' life. So consumer here really being a prioritized, and the way the HTC enrich its consumers' life by providing contents and pleasures in its smartphones and devices. And HTC also respect about its employees, especially its engineers, because its engineers really involved in a design, product, and manufactures in Magic, as I said before, mobility advancement group, and yeah, so on. I forgot. Yeah, simply that involved in Magic, like Sherwang also encouraged, like promoted innovative environment, and she always, like, you know give its engineers uh like a free will to experiment, to conduct an experiment. And the company also allowed failures to happen. So the engineers could fail in developing the product from HTC, and it was allowed officially by the company. And engineers also allowed to questioning everything about the manufacturers. So I think this is a good strategy. Like the engineers who directly involved in creating HTC smartphones could questioning everything and allowed to make a fail, to allowed failures. Okay, okay I'll show you the organization chart of HTC. Look, there are many teams that constituted in HTC Corporation. Look, there are R&D center that really being prioritized also by HTC, because HTC inject over $500 million just to conduct it an R&D. And okay, this is the employment by positions, gender, and qualifications. Look, as we can see here about the positions, there were management specialists, administrator, and technical staff. And we can look here that technical staff dominate the workforce of HTC Corporation. Look, it increased from 2010 only about 7,000, and 2012 it increased to 10,000 over 10,000 technical staff. So it means that like HTC Corporation conducted innovation 9 per 9 month that involve technical stuff, and this is the gender of employment in HTC Corporation. There are female and male, and of course it was dominated by male as a technical staff and female as a management or administrators. And this is the qualifications, the implies qualifications of HTC Corporation. There were PhD, masters, bachelors, and technical or vocational. And as you can see here, that employee with a bachelor degree dominate the HTC Corporation. So, because HTC already conduct an innovation, and then HTC also expanded its business by establishing HTC Americas and HTC Europe in 2005. And the president of HTC Americas was Jason McKenzie, and the president of HTC Europe was Florian Sichi. And turns out HTC Americas gained a huge success, like the smartphone brand from HTC Corporation in Americas being well known in American people, because the president Jason McKenzie really put a detail on its product. So by put attention on detail, like which part that the company should improve, and Jason did this, and of course make a better improvement. And again, HTC also entered South Africa, Australia, and China market. Okay, the way the company entered South Africa, by conduct a partnership with a bright star. With the bright stars. And for the HTC in China, had a strong competitor, which was Samsung, that already famous in China. And HTC entered Australia. The company entered through service provider Telstra. Then with those service provider, HTC could release tablet computer and the first 4G smartphone in Australia. No, I mean in Australia, HTC released the first 4G smartphone through a service provider Telstra, and because the branch HTC in America and Europe initially was the first branch, HTC released tablet computer which was larger than the 7-inch screen, and it was sold in USA and Europe. So guys, because many partnership and expansions already conducted, already done by HTC Corporation. Of course, many transformations happen in HTC itself. Like initially, HTC was, a Taiwanese contract manufacturer that was unfamous. Then suddenly it transforms into a global player in a handsets and tablets market. Yeah, HTC is a global player that compete with Apple, Samsung, and Huawei. And it can guarantee why it can assured it can yeah it was sure why HTC was a global player because one of HTC products was was commonly being used in USA. And HTC also gained many awards for best design, and the awards came from idea in 2011, and also Red Dot in 2011, and IDA in 2010. And also HTC had had a had a strict intellectual property, like had a strict patent protection, because we can conclude that HTC at the time was a new player. Of course, the company should really look after its own patents, just to make sure avoiding many patent infringements. But unfortunately, though HTC had a strong patents protection, in 2000 and in 2010, Apple brand, like accused HTC for a patents infringements of Apple. And then 2012, Nokia also, like uh proposed its complaints to the US board for the patents infringements. And to and in 2012, in January 2012, Eastman's Kodak also, like sued, like report HTC because of lawsuit law because of patent infringements against, like, the accusation from Apple and Nokia and also Eastman Kodak. All of them came from the patent infringements, because Cher Wang was a determined CEO. She could pass and sustained the patent of HTC Corporation. Yeah, we can conclude that Cher Wang could, like, face that accusation from, of course, from a big brand. Then Cher Wang could sustain the intellectual property of HTC Corporation. So yeah, that's the challenge that like, it can be a catastrophic disaster that came in a HTC Corporation's journey. Okay, we move to the future of the HTC. Okay, Cher Wang discussed with her team regarding the manufacturers of tablets in a big scale because the sales of tablets were forecasted to increase 50% from 2011 to 2015. And the market of tablets was also estimated to have a total value more than $100 billion by 2005, and it would be estimated also that the sales of tablets in 2005 would reach 500 million units. So Cher Wang also, Cher Wang have had a desire to enter tablet markets, and of course that was also differ with the other brand. Like Cher Wang wanted to create tablet with a distinct, with a unique specification, with Android-based tablet. So yeah, HTC Corporation wanted to release tablets with Android as the base of its tablets, and wanted to beat the dominance of iPad that belonged to Apple. So yeah, that was the story of HTC Corporation. Okay, I had several analyses. Firstly, about the leadership style of Cher Wang, who encourage failure in the company. I thought it was a big decision ever to allow failure happen, because HTC Corporation, uh, generally run as a tech company. Of course, tech company need improvement, and also it was added by the vision of Cher Wang, who wanted an innovative product. Of course, failure was needed in this process to create an innovative product. Uh, failures failures were needed. Like, they can learn from mistakes. And it resulted to a short product cycle in the HTC Corporation, yeah, approximately for 9 months. Of course, by 9 months, and of course by failures, and by refining small details, HTC could provide an innovative product. And about the strategic that was initiated by Cher Wang, we can call it as a quietly brilliant. Okay, we can assume that Cher Wang was a quietly brilliant leader, because, as I stated before, that in 2007, Cher Wang conducted a strategic decision by transform HTC from a ODM to a brand, to a smartphone manufacturer. So yeah, it's she was a brilliant but quiet leader, and she also approached several partnerships just to embody her vision. Initially, why uh, you know why HTC could not outskirt I mean couldn't outstrip Apple and Samsung in market share initially, in initial phase, because yeah, Apple and Nokia was exist first, was exist formerly before, was exist uh before HTC Corporation. And about, you know, about the the s- the future of HTC Corporation, that Cher Wang wanted to enter, wanted to manufacture tablets in a big scale. I thought it. I recommend I recommend Cher Wang that to conduct that desire to manufacture tablets in a big scale and enter market. Okay, why the reason why I recommend this, because this table this table shows this table shows the future of tablets. Look, in 2012, the shipments of tablets only 116 million, but in 2013 it increased to 197. Then in 2004 it was estimated to increase to 2000 at 266 millions. So yeah, we can see here that uh, within 2012 until 2004, the shipments of tablets increased significantly. So it was a good strategy for Sherwang, for HTC corporations to manufacture tablets in a big scale and enter tablet markets, because as the table show, it would increase. And of course, there's there's one thing that Sherwang had to put her attention fully, like create tablets that was distinct and unique, and and of course distinguish from the other tablets, especially the iPad from Apple. So yeah, Sherwang just run your desire to manufacture tablets in a big scale, but put your attention in innovation and details. So yeah, thank you.